This is Renford Rewatched, and in this episode, I'm joined by Luke once again to discuss Series 1, Episode 12, entitled Bowled Over. It was directed by Stephen Baywell, written by Stephen Baywell, Patrick Buckley, and Chris Wilson, and this one sees the introduction of Vinny's dad, who wants Vinny to play cricket like the rest of his family have, but Vinny wants to concentrate more on commentating and sports view, etc. The guest star playing Vinny's dad in this episode is none other than Joseph Marcel. And believe me, this guy has been around for decades. You've seen him pop up all over the place, but probably more so in the American TV sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as the butler Jeffrey between 1990 and 1996. He is currently starring in the BBC sitcom Mammoth as well. Well worth checking out. Luke, what did you think of this episode? Because I have to say that when I first saw the listing there, I didn't have very good memories of it. I thought it was a bit of a filler.
I agree with you. I couldn't even remember it at all. I definitely didn't know growing up that was Jerry from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So it was a nice surprise when I was rewatching it. But no, I couldn't remember this episode. I thought it was a bit of a filler and didn't remember it too fondly, if at all. I was actually quite surprised. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great fun. We got to delve a little bit into Vinny's home life and his family and just give a little bit more context, because we've seen his bedroom loads of times with the Sports View studio, and we see him, knocking about with the Rejects, but we don't really know much else about him. And I think this is, aside from Bruno in Ciao Bambino, this is probably one of the very few times we see parents.
I think you're right. Do we ever meet Jason's parents?
I don't think so.
I don't think we do. But no, as far as I know, it's quite a juxtaposition from Bruno's parents from the last episode, who weren't very involved at all. And then you've got his dad, Vinny's dad, who is a very passionate man about his cricket.
Indeed. And this episode opens with them watching a video of the Rejects that Vinny has made. And it's sort of this compilation, supposed to be this compilation of their season, but it's played for laughs, except at this point we can't see it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, it opens with the Grissom film premiere and Eddie's hair crisis.
Yes.
Can't forget that. But as I recall, the video is not too flattering.
No, I mean, we don't see it till later, but we get from their faces that this is not what they were expecting at all. The episode for the A story, the whole Vinny playing cricket thing, starts off, as we say, with that video and them not being very pleased with what he's done. And there's a little bit of a plot hole. Did you notice it?
Right. Was it the tape?
It was the tape, because Vinny gives Stuart the master tape, and of course Eddie's got one, but they don't know that Eddie's got one because he took it out the player, right? But then in the middle, he's like, "Oh, I could use this as part of the entry into the competition," and they're like, "Oh no!" And it's like, but then later when they're suggesting using it, they're like, "Well, it was destroyed."
Yeah, I think they might have glossed over a little bit there. Bit of creative license.
A little, but yeah. So Eddie takes the tape away, and we see a little bit of Vinny's home life with him commentating on cricket, which has that music for the cricket. Did you notice?
Yes. What's the tune? Is it the grandstand one?
No, it's not grandstand. Yeah, what is that? It's the cricket radio program though, isn't it? It's like 6-4 special or something, isn't it?
That garden recording. So I always got the feeling, because he's recording his parents, obviously it's not just the football he sticks to. He records everything about his life, including his family. And it seemed like a nice family life that he did have, despite his dad's, the pressures of his dad.
Bringing in, of course, Joseph Marcel, who immediately has a presence.
I think he does a great job. He doesn't overplay it. His comedic timing is brilliant. No, I thought he was really, really good in this episode.
He sets up the whole premise, basically. You know, he says 2 or 3 generations have played cricket, and so you should play cricket instead of doing this camera thing.
It's the whole part of the episode is about family expectation, pressure, family expectation, and just doing what you want to do versus what your parents think you should do, and tradition. And that's something I understand, and I'm sure many people will relate to, what your parents expect of you and doing what you really want to do.
He delivers a lot of drama because he basically, you know, bans him from using the camera and tries to get him into the cricket thing. And I couldn't remember at all that Basil Stoker makes an appearance in the middle.
Oh, he does.
And he steals the episode, doesn't he?
I didn't realize watching this back how little he's in it. In a lot of the episodes I've done with yourself, he's not been there. So it was really nice to see him pop up in that scene. And what I liked about it is it was the scene that it pops up in, it was quite a role reversal where Vinny's on the field and Robin's got the camera and she's giving a bit of what Vinny gives. So she's giving it, taking Mick a little bit, commentating, making a few comments, and he don't like it. And it's nice to see a bit of role reversal. So how do you like it, Vinny? And it's always good to see Robin because she's brilliant.
I thought it was a little bit out of character for Robin. She sort of doesn't... That seems like more of a Jason thing to do.
I see where you're coming from, but I always think Robin's always got a little bit of a cheeky side. She always likes winding him up, but she's just a bit more... And you see a lot of her cheeky side come out, like I think later in the episode when Vinny's dad kicks off at everybody, you can see a little grin on her face a couple of times. And she's just quite cheeky. You get a cheeky chappy, but no, that's usually Jason's thing, isn't it?
Yes.
But I think with Jason, when it push comes to shove, he's one of those who'd run for the hills, to be honest.
I mean, a note on Basil Stoker for a moment. I thought it was really interesting. I know he's a sports master, but you always see him talking about football. So the fact that he's basically coaching cricket as well was really interesting.
It's like one of those old school teachers, there's jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. I think my PE teachers taught everything from javelin to swimming. It's like, how can you do all of them? Yes, it teaches everything. You just have one teacher for the lot. I don't know if that's at most schools, but yeah, one PE teacher has taught you the whole thing. And usually just say, right, go and run a few laps around field so you could just sit and chat to other PE teachers. That was the extent of my PE classes.
Yeah, we had one PE teacher that basically did everything. So whether it was cricket, rounders, football, whatever, it was one teacher that did everything. So I can relate to that very much. But I love the fact that he basically dared Robin to do it.
Yes.
And then, the shock on his face where Bill just delivers it perfectly. We don't see the ball go anywhere. We just keep an eye on the two.
Of course, Robin's great. She's great at everything, isn't it? It was But did you play growing up? Much cricket?
A little bit. A little bit.
I wasn't a fan, but it was like, because we played football pretty much every holiday. We had every day at school, every holiday was football. But there was barely 1 week in the 6-week holidays where it'd be like cricket week. And it was good fun, but if you were just like fielding or something, it was a bit boring. But yeah, we had cricket week 1 week. It was like an unspoken rule. As a kid, it was, I was never any good. And that ball hurts. So, poor guy. I hope when they filmed it, it wasn't a real cricket ball. Or that his dreads somehow deferred the impact.
I mean, I love it that Robin made the team.
No, of course she did. That's our Robin.
It's a fascinating thing because Basil's whole thing is girls can't play football. Girls shouldn't play football.
Very good point. Yeah.
But he knows talent when he sees it says, go on, yeah, she can do cricket. Like that's...
Did you notice Vinny's cricket top?
I didn't, no.
Purple stripes. White with purple stripes. So that was a nice nod to the Rejects. I don't know if they must have had that custom made. I don't think there's probably many cricket shirts with purple stripes on them. Maybe I'm wrong. I know nothing about cricket. I know probably Nasser Hussain and Shane Warne, and that's probably my knowledge about cricket players of yesteryear. But yes, I noticed the Renford colours representing.
I think with this episode is it does sort of say, well, how do the characters deal with another sport? Because they sort of handle that a little bit later with the American football thing.
See, I don't think I've seen that. My knowledge of Rejects, I think maybe up to series 3. So if I ever get around to watching it, it'll be brand new for me because I don't think
Yeah.
I've watched really series 4 onwards. Maybe
I know there's a golf one in series 4,
I've not seen the
so
golf one.
they do it again.
But you do mention they all take mick out of him for playing cricket. The gentleman's game, they call it, and they
Yeah.
all take the mick out of him in his attire for liking cricket. So I'm guessing that's the kind of the football or cricket. Too much hassle. It's not the gentleman's game, not the man's game. Better.
They come up with this idea that he's going to enter this competition and he's going to tell them that he made the team, but his dad's at work that day, so it doesn't matter so much. Like he'll just his dad will think, well, he's played it good, he's doing the right thing. He underplays pretty much how important it is to his dad. He's sort of misunderstood a little bit just because he's so so into doing this commentary thing.
And also, that's the thing about being young. Sometimes you think of that, like back on your past, and as an adult, as a father, you think, see when my dad did that, or I understand it a bit, but as a kid, you don't get it. And I think it's a nice learning curve because, like you said, he downplays how much it means to his dad, but also his dad doesn't understand how much the commentary means to Vinny.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like in the end they meet together and it's just about talking about it. So I think it is a great message, this episode, especially about fatherhood and interests. But on a slightly lighter note than less deep note than that, I love the banter between Ben and Jason. I love when Ben and Jason are together because I think they bounce off each other really well. And it makes me laugh that they're basically lying. They tell him to lie to his dad. And it'd have worked if you hadn't booked the day off work. But Ben refers to it as not lies, a creative rearrangement of the truth.
Exactly.
And that is great words from Ben, from our local poet.
They do work together incredibly well. Usually it's Jason not understanding something and Ben being smart. That's normally the way that they go about it. I was a little bit disappointed with Bruno. He hasn't really got anything to do.
I think he says like maybe 5 lines this entire episode. I think his highlight is when he scores a goal and he runs into the corner flag and it hits him in the nuts. I think that's probably his highlight. Yeah, he's not in it much at all.
Yeah.
It's not a Bruno episode, not a very Bruno episode. And I think Stuart disappears halfway through. You don't see much of him either.
Yes, that is true. But then Stuart is the one, I think, that some of the crazy stuff they do is like Stuart would be the one to say, well, no, don't do that. That's not the thing to do. Not that they always listen. I think we need to, before we get to that sort of crushing second part with the amazing scene with Joseph Marcel kind of confronting the whole thing, we need to talk about this B story with Eddie and the wig.
Eddie's wig.
Yeah. Normally these things are really played for laughs and they're quite kind of separate from the A story. But it ties in beautifully.
It does. And you find out that it may not be his whole career, but Vinny's dad sells wigs.
Well, he sells something. He said he had them in his shop, but
That
is
in
that
his shop? So what's in his shop? What shops sell wigs? And this brings me to a bigger question that I thought: how much must Vinny's setup cost? Because if you think about it, he's got his cameras, he's got the editing software, monitors.
Yeah.
And it's snazzy camera and setup, and he's self-taught. There's no YouTube back then. So he's had to learn it all himself. So that's not cheap. So what? He must sell a lot of wigs. Vinny's dad to to help with this obsession.
I would imagine he owns the shop. That's kind of the idea, I think, isn't it?
Maybe it's a tech and wig shop, a bit of both. You can get yourself a VHS player and a wig at the same time.
Perhaps Vinny got a lot of pocket money.
You never knew.
Because you do kind of think, well, his dad is so against this, and yet he's allowed it to get to this point where he's got all this equipment and he's done all this stuff already,
He feels like, has he ever been up in his room? Because if in his room, the alarm bells are there.
There is an episode, I think, where Eddie blows up the setup. I'm sure his dad knew about that.
Did his dad ever return? Or is this the one-off appearance?
I think this is a one-off appearance, yeah.
It was great. It was quite a bag for the character. You know, to have an actor who's of the, it was 2 years, you say 96 Bel Air finished, and this was 98, but filmed in 97. So, yeah, it was a pretty big scoop for the rejects to get someone from Fresh Prince.
Well, my wife pointed out that when he's talking to Eddie about the wigs in the middle, when he says, "Oh, I've got some in my shop," and Eddie's like, "No, I just go with this," and he does a really like sort of a Jeffreyism,
Definitely.
and it's so perfect. He's a talent. And if you've only ever seen him in Fresh Prince, like he can do so many things. I'm looking down his IMDb and he's done all genres.
See a bit of thespian coming out of him in some of the ways he delivered some of these
Yes.
lines. There was one, I forgot what he called. He referred to Graceland as a house of ill repute. But no, he was. You could tell he was definitely trained, especially because I love the rejects, but a lot of them aren't the greatest. And when you've got an actor of his caliber, you can definitely tell the difference.
Well, this is where we can talk about the camera work because the thing about Rejects is there's very rarely any cuts. It's just one camera roaming for sometimes up to 4 or 5 minutes, just constant movement, a little bit like a theatre performance. And so someone like Joseph, with all his, experience, is lapping this up, I'm sure. I mean, that scene at the end where he realizes that he didn't go, to the cricket, and he's confronting him, and he basically, takes the camera. But you look at all the movement that's going on, you're like, there's no second take with this.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I was thinking it's not just the main actors, but everyone in the background's got to be on the ball because one slip up and you've got to do the entire scene again. But yeah, until you mentioned it, the last time we chatted in the last podcast, I didn't realize how longer shots were in Rejects.
Oh yeah, yeah. This one it really stuck out because that music, that ooh music came on, and it pretty much lasts for like 3 to 5 minutes of just constant where you see him leave the set, and then it pans round to Eddie where he's sort of they're talking, and yeah, it goes on for a long time.
It must have been hard for the actors because, as a young actor, you muck up, you must feel everyone's not going to be happy with you. It's a lot of pressure. That was a really intense scene where he kicks off in front of the entire, his friends, the team, Eddie, and a lot of randomers in the background who can't stop looking at the camera. But yeah, that was a really intense scene. That was pretty harsh by his dad, especially in front of everyone.
I think so. It is, as you say, really intense. It just takes it up a notch. It's probably one of the tensest moments in Renford Rejects history. This thing, and he just delivers it with utter perfect, and like just the awkward way that he takes the camera from them, and you think that could go wrong in so many ways. You could drop it, you could not take it at the right time. But all of these little things, you said earlier about Robin maybe smiling a tiny bit. That might have even been like nervousness, which somehow like makes it better because it just adds a level.
It's a really awkward scene. You really feel bad for him. I watched it again today, and when you're watching that bit, you feel he's messed up. He's upset his dad, and it's not going well.
Well, especially as he's able to. They put in the joke of, well, if I want the opinion of a man who wears a dead cat on his head, then I'll ask for it. And it's like this is a moment where someone in the background could crack up.
He switches like that. Because he's quite a comedic actor, and a lot of this episode is a lot of comedy. The wig stuff, and he makes a few jokes around about his shop and his schmoozing of Eddie. When he managed to like two free cherry aids that don't look anything like cherry aid, if you're honest. But and he just switches to this not very happy father and disappointed father. You can understand. You took day off work. As a father, I can say days off work aren't free. You've not got lots of them. Took day off work. You've got your granddad, you got your dad, and your great granddad there, and then You don't turn up, you're gonna get chewed out. But you're gonna expect a ground in from that. He knows what he's gonna expect. And then when he leaves, it makes me laugh that Jason's like, told him we shouldn't have lied. First thing out of Jason's mouth, blames Robin. There's one bit we haven't mentioned that I thought was brilliant. When the team go and make the video to make them look good, and they'd come up with all these ingenious ways to make them look great, which I think is Jason has a ball that's glued to his foot. Ronnie, who is another one who probably says like 2 lines this entire episode, is on a ladder to make him look tall and jump off the wall, I think. And then Robin's ball on a string.
Yeah. Oh, the ball on a string.
Ball on a string, bit of comedy, which Rejects does brilliant. And it's got the infamous, Renford clowning around music.
Yeah.
And there's another, because I know you're good with your music. What is the music that's got that? It's an acoustic guitar and it's got some kind of violins in the background, and it's usually over the poignant scenes.
Oh, yeah. It's called, is that the one that's called like Life is Too Short but Death is Forever or something?
It's just really cool.
Yeah.
I was like, for a show about teenagers playing football, it didn't need to go this hard on its music, and it does.
Yes.
It's the sound and music is absolutely fantastic.
It's nice to have a bit of comedy in between stuff as well, and to show that actually maybe Vinny was right to represent. He was only representing them in truth. Like, it seemed to them like, well, you're just being mean. You're putting all the bad stuff, and it's like, well, actually, that's what it is, and that's what makes him a good commentator and a good reporter.
He's a good lad, and he's having fun because you feel obviously there's a parental expectation. He should have been at the cricket. He doesn't want to be at the cricket. He wants to do what he loves, and he wants to be with his friends. And he's having a laugh with his friends. And what they recorded looked great. It looks a lot of fun, and that's why I like Vinny, because he goes through a bit of a change in this episode. I think he stands up for himself and his friends. Because obviously when they hand over the video and it wins the competition, which saves Vinny. All his friends, obviously that video makes them look terrible. It looks like rubbish footballers, but they take that hit for their friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one a big thing about Rejects is one of the themes throughout his friendship, and they are not prepared. They are prepared, even though they might grumble at first, to take a hit to help their friend. They're not afraid to look like Rejects, which is what they are, to help a friend, and I like that. It's the tale of friendship throughout is always a strong message. And I think it was, this is my quote of the day, Stand By Me, isn't it? It's like, I think there's a line in Stand By Me which says, I never had friends in later life like I did when I was 12. Who the heck does? Or something. I've probably just paraphrased that awfully, but it's a really poignant moment. It's like, you never have friends, which is like, I've got some amazing friends now. But it's that time, that coming of age era where, it's golden. And this captures it perfectly.
Can we kind of change the tone slightly with, what did you think of Eddie's second wig that Vinny's dad places on him?
I think it was worse than the first one, to be honest. I definitely think the one he had on first was much better. Much better. And I don't think Vinny's dad was very good at applying that wig.
He's just there to see Vincent win the competition, and the way that he kind of looks up and goes, Vincent? I liked, but I also didn't like how he turns really quickly. Like, we see the video and then we cut back to him laughing, sitting with the rest of them.
It's a quick transition. It's a quick change from, you're never doing this ever again, to, oh my God, you're actually really good at it. Let's just forget all about cricket and celebrate what you're talented at, which is great. And I guess when you only got 30 minutes of a show, 24 with adverts, you've got to keep it nice and sweet. But yeah, it was a very quick transition from I'm furious to, hey, I love this. This is brilliant.
If he had shown him the video outright, he probably would have just laughed and gone, well, that's silly. Like, you this is nonsense. But because he's won a competition, because a higher authority has said, this is good, it kind of changes his mind. I guess it's the respect thing. And that was the thing, with the family love of cricket, was that they'd all gone on to do these exceptionally high things. And I guess the realization for him in that episode is Vinny might not be doing cricket, he's doing his own thing, but it's still at a high level.
Oh, yeah, it was handpicked by Bob Wilson and Jim Rosenthal, wasn't it?
Yes.
Which was a great nod, because in a few episodes few prior, he's always does his VTV, and like, who on earth is Vinny Rodriguez? Now they know who he is. They know his name. He's won a competition. I've got it in my head that he sends a video in at another point. Is that?
I think he wins some kind of competition.
I thought I remembered. I was getting my episodes confused. I'm sure he has another one where they send in an episode of him messing up. Recurring theme.
It's worth it for Jim Rosenthal saying they look like a bunch of losers, or whatever the line was. This bunch of losers. It's like, oh, that is not a line that they would have anyone in any era say. Because sometimes you see these lines and you go, yeah, it's a different time. But that one is like, no, I don't think a professional reporter would ever say, look at this bunch of losers. Like,
no, I think these days it'd be much like they're trying really hard. Look at them. They're trying hard. Times have most definitely changed. But I'm glad he won. It was great to see Bob Wilson and Jim Rosenthal and finally getting his name in their mouths. I did notice something when they're showing that video. The film stops and his dad waxes lyrical about it. But if you look in the background, the extras are just still staring at the telly, but the telly's not on anymore because they've just switched off the recording or what it was. So they're just staring at the camera, and it's just really weird. They're just all looking at you. It's some of the actors. I love the people in the background. I wonder if it was just friends and family or crew members, just staring around, directly looking at the camera. It's brilliant. It adds to the charm. And I did, eagle-eyed of me here, notice a Parma bag on the wall, which would have been Bruno's of Parma, and that's one of the only shirts he doesn't wear in the Italian leagues. But there's a Parma bag on the wall, and they were a quintessential team of the 90s.
Of course. Did you notice Vinny look straight into the lens?
And I was too busy looking at the background characters who had no relevance to what was going on.
That was one of those instances, I think, where the scene ran so long that they just went, well, it's kind of cute that he looks into the lens, or maybe he's looking at someone else and we just so happen to be like staring straight at us.
I think that you were saying about the camera, the verite works very well for this kind of show.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know how they must have sold it. Right, we're going to make this show, loads of kids, straight shots, going to be like, in excess of a couple of minutes, all handheld style. It was definitely ahead of its time.
But it makes you feel like you're following all the time.
Yeah. It makes you feel like you're part of them, almost like you're there. You're someone in the background. You're part of the Rejects. You're just following them all around.
Indeed. The episode ends with Eddie's new wig, which is a third wig, which is very similar to the picture that Priscilla was holding up at the beginning.
It reminds me of that famous Mexican goalkeeper. I can't remember his name, but he had a wonderful head of hair, curly black hair. I think he's the guy who did the scorpion kick.
Right.
The infamous scorpion kick save. It looks very much like that. Or a bit Rick James. I can't decide which one. But yeah, that was hinted that Eddie had a very good time. They closed the shop. And eclairs on a stick for everyone. Does anyone pay for food in that shop?
Sticky buns for everybody, yeah.
Sticky buns on a stick.
Well, they did have financial problems in a previous episode.
They did when they got the guy in, didn't they? Their I can't what they call him, accountant in. But yeah, I swear nobody ever pays for anything in that shop.
A couple of notes that I mentally have noted, and when I saw it a second time, I was like, yeah, I need to talk about that. Priscilla's scream at the beginning. I watch a lot of shows where they overdub the screaming on things, and you can tell it's overdubbed. That felt like it was real.
That was a guttural scream. Guttural, because they were married in real life, weren't they?
Yes.
They were married, but you never see a face. I have to look that up and actually see what Priscilla looked like. That's what I'm going to do. Once we finish this tonight, I'll be looking at what Priscilla looks like.
The other note as well is, did you see Bruno fall off the bench at the park?
I did not notice Bruno fall. I saw him got hit in the nuts, and I saw him fall on his back with an overhead kick, which I've mentioned before. I have done, and it hurts. But I did not see him fall off the bench. He falls off the bench quite a lot, doesn't he, in this show?
He has no use in this episode whatsoever. That obviously, I feel like the falling off the bench thing was probably something he came up with, because it's like, I've got no lines here, and even when he does say lines, it's very exaggerated Bruno. It's like there's no personality, but lots of personality all at the same time.
I like it. Our character can have hardly any words, but he still has a presence. Because that's
Yes.
Bruno, the Italian maestro from Birmingham.
Barry Grade. That's a different episode. But this episode really surprised us by the theme of it. Thought it was filler. I've seen it a couple of times now in the last week, and I really liked it.
Yeah, as I said, I really did too. I thought it was throwaway. I wasn't looking at how do you follow on from Ciao Bambino, which is arguably the greatest Rejects episode ever. And I wasn't really too bothered, but when I watched it, I was actually, this is a really good episode. It's got heart, it's got family, it's got quintessential Rejects, and it's got some great acting in it. So I think that out of all of them, this is one of my favorites that I've rewatched.
I think so.
It's most memorable. This is one I will go ahead remembering more than the others. I think this is in my top 5 currently.
Do you think it helps that we're dads, though, that we kind of understand it a little bit?
You know what? It's weird, isn't it? How things change. You think nothing changed. And people, I remember my friends having kids and it all changes and you don't, but it does. You start thinking like a dad and thinking, actually, I understand why he's kicking off in some of this. Oh gosh, I'm no longer Vinny. I'm Vinny's dad. But yes, I think being older and rewatching it definitely is a completely different experience. But I'm glad we're not rewatching it and thinking, oh gosh, that's aged terribly. You can't say that anymore. It's not. I think it's aged incredibly well. I mean, it's not Shakespeare, is it? But you know what I mean? It's aged well. It's rewatchable.
This one of the most dramatic, I think, of the series because, yeah, Joseph Marcel's presence and just the hit of him proper laying into Vinny about, family loyalty and the break in the middle of, what will they say? They're in the car right now. What will they say? Well, they won't say much because they're asleep. But what will they think?
He's got some good comedy lines and he plays them really, really well.
It just got the balance perfectly.
No, I think this is a really good episode. Really good episode that I will remember, definitely. I didn't remember it before, so it must have gone over my head a lot as a kid.
Well, if you haven't watched it, I mean, go ahead because this is a great one in our opinion. Maybe you think different. Do let us know on social media. Always love to hear different opinions on these things. So the next episode is Series 1, Episode 13, entitled High Noon, in which the Rejects need to beat the Razors. There we go, more Terry and Basil on the way, to avoid relegation. To prevent that from happening, the Razors conspire to make sure Robin never makes it to the game. It's a good one.
It makes me think, why the Razors care that much if the Rejects were relegated or not? Do they need to win the league?
Well, we're going to find out.
Time will tell.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us, Luke.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to talk about Rejects. And yeah, thank you very much. Anytime.